Justine, thank you very much for giving us.
Thanks for having me.
The first question there has got to do with whether you have any suspicion of anything sinister about the withdrawal of this bill, and importantly, what does it do for the fight against data must fall?
So it's very interesting that you're saying people are saying that there's a really big connection between high costs of data and this bill. I disagree with that. I don't think that that is the case. This bill's been a long time in coming. It was first mooted in 2011. It's by many, many previous communications ministers. It's been a long time coming. As I said, it's on the back of a detailed policy process. And unfortunately, when we saw the bill, it was very different to how the policy had been unfolding.
What changed about it?
A number of things. One was very serious attempts to do away with the independence of the communications regulator, ICASA, excuse me, and to take a number of those powers into the hands of the minister. Secondly was this idea for a forced wireless open access network. In other words, forcing all network operators to pool their resources and have one state-run network. That had been tangentially mentioned in some of the policy issues, but was never a clear policy decision, and then all of a sudden there it was in the bill. To try and get a lot of support for the bill, the then Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services was linking it to the popular hashtag data must fall movement. Frankly, I think that was disingenuous because it was never going to be. Obviously, the overall impact is to reduce costs and promote telecommunications, but it was never in response to data must fall. And a minister and parliament, in making legislation, they can create the environment. They can't do very much to reduce data costs, and there are other mechanisms that are being used to do that, which happy to talk about if you'd like.
The one issue that the Portfolio Committee was saying this gives an opportunity to do, given this withdrawal for the time being, saying that this term will not allow a finalization of this bill, is that they've identified issues that they're saying require further deliberations between the Department of Communications and the industry players.
Absolutely.
Are you aware of these,
Absolutely.
what these issues are?
So obviously the bill's already gone through the National Assembly. There were hearings on it towards the end of last year, and it's very clear that the bill is being withdrawn because Parliament is essentially telling the minister, and remember it's not her bill because she's now the minister of two departments, so she had nothing to do with its introduction. But the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee is making it quite clear to her this bill will not pass. So you don't want to face that as a minister. There are two critical reasons. One are the constitutional issues. They are not going to fly, and Parliament knows that, and they've told the minister that. Secondly, this whole issue about forcing the infrastructure together on in a very heavy-handed way that absolutely undermines the investment and it's terribly expensive to establish a communications network, and all the big players are really aghast, I think, at this sort of forced putting together of a network, and it's very unclear where that idea came from. It hasn't worked anywhere internationally, and everyone was very surprised, and there wasn't proper consultation. And I think the minister is very astute where she says in her statement, this is an opportunity for further engagement. She knows there has to be further engagement. So it's off the table. And what we are hoping for is for a proper converged ICT policy that looks at electronic communications, broadcasting, OTT services, Netflix, etc., over-the-top services, internet services, to really be looked at holistically. And while that is happening, can I just say, because this is important, I think, for your viewers, ICASA just yesterday announced that they've ironed out the final sticking points on the real data must fall regulations, which are due to come into effect on the 28th of February, so very soon. And that's going to be good news. There's going to be a rollover of unused data. You going to be able to get notifications when you move from in-bundle data costs to outer-bundle data costs, and you're going to be able to transfer your data if someone else in a family needs it, for example. These are going to make a significant difference to consumers. So it's ICASA that is doing the heavy lifting on data costs must fall, not the government. And frankly, I think the minister knows that.
Well, at least there's some good news.
There's good news, yes, it is.
Thank you very much for that.
Sure.
So there's some good news, although there are clear deficiencies then in the policy development area.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Justine Limpitlo talking to us about the withdrawal of this bill, the Communications Amendment Bill.